Okay, picture this for a second. It's 6 o'clock in the morning, pitch black outside. Maybe there's, a layer of ice on the windshield. Most of us, we are hitting snooze for the third time, burying our heads in the pillow. But there's this entire workforce that's already been in motion for an hour.
The hidden city, essentially.
Exactly. You've got bus drivers white-knuckling it over slick bridges. You've got custodians wrestling with keys to unlock these freezing cold buildings before anyone else even gets there.
And the food service staff already cracking, hundreds of eggs for breakfast? It's this massive synchronized machine that we just never see.
And it's the invisible engine of the school system. I mean, we focus so much on the classroom, the teachers, the principals, the curriculum.
As we should.
Right, and rightfully so. But without this classified staff, the doors literally do not open. The kids don't get to the building, and they don't eat when they get there.
And that is exactly where we're pointing our spotlight today, because we're doing a deep dive into a crisis that is just hammering this specific group of people.
And I'm not using the word crisis lightly here. I mean, we've all driven past schools and seen those banners zip-tied to the fences, right? Help wanted, drivers needed, signing bonus.
All the time.
But when you dig into the actual numbers, it's honestly kind of terrifying.
It is. We pulled data from the Economic Policy Institute, and this was released just a couple months ago, November 2025. And the numbers, they paint a really stark picture. K-12 schools are currently down 21,200 bus drivers.
Wait, hold on. 21,000.
Yeah. Compared to pre-pandemic levels in 2019.
That's not a shortage. That's an empty stadium.
It's a 9.5% decline in the total workforce. And you feel that ripple effect everywhere. Routes getting cut, bus stops being consolidated so kids have to walk further.
Parents panicking because the bus is an hour late. It's just logistical chaos.
Exactly.
And here is where it gets really interesting, and honestly where I got a little confused reading the source material. The knee-jerk reaction is always, well, it's a money problem. Just pay them more.
Right. Pay them more and they'll come back.
But the data says we are paying them more.
Right. That same report showed the median hourly wage for bus drivers hit $22.45 in 2025. That actually outpaced inflation.
So districts are throwing money at the problem. They're offering bonuses. They're boosting the hourly rates. But the bucket is still leaking.
Still leaking.
So if it's not the paycheck, what is it? And that is the core mystery we're unpacking today. We're looking at this fascinating guide called K-12 Classified Staff Onboarding by HR Cloud. And their thesis is pretty provocative. The problem isn't the job itself. It's that the system is treating these people like second-class citizens from the moment they say yes to the offer.
They call it desk bias.
Desk bias. I love that term because it sounds so corporate. But the implications are actually, really personal.
Completely. The fundamental issue is that most school HR systems were designed by people who sit at desks, for people who sit at desks.
Right.
They just assume you have a laptop, a quiet office, a reliable Wi-Fi connection, and a 9-to-5 schedule.
And the reality for a custodian or a bus driver is none of that.
Exactly. It's an identity crisis. When a bus driver has to navigate some corporate portal that was designed for a laptop they don't even own, using a district email address they've never logged into,
Wow.
the message the district is sending is loud and clear. We didn't build this for you. It signals they're outsiders before they've even clocked in for their first shift.
So today we're walking through HR Cloud's 5-step framework to fix this.
And we're not just talking about making things mobile friendly. We're talking about why that frantic August surge is a legal ticking time bomb.
And why maybe gold stars on a phone screen might actually stop a 50-year-old mechanic from quitting.
Yeah.
Let's start with the chaos, because I think if you work in a regular office, it's hard to visualize just how frantic a school HR office is in late summer. The source material calls it the August surge.
It's the stuff of nightmares for HR directors. Just picture the physical environment. It's mid-August. You're in a mid-sized district, maybe 10,000 students. You have stacks of paper piling up on every single surface.
Oh, I can see it now.
Phones are ringing off the hook. And you're trying to onboard 200 to 400 people in a window of about 6 weeks.
But why? Wait, that's what I don't get. Why not start hiring in June when school gets out?
Yeah.
Why compress it all into this panic mode?
And that's the logistical catch-22 of school districts. You simply can't start earlier.
Really?
Think about transportation. Routes aren't finalized until late July because enrollment is still shifting. You don't know how many drivers you need until you know exactly where the buses are going.
Oh, okay.
Same with the cafeteria. You need final enrollment numbers to figure out staffing levels.
So you have this massive bottleneck. You can't move the start line, But the deadline, the first day of school, that never moves. It's set in stone.
Exactly. So you get this frantic compression. And because the system often relies on paper, literal physical packets of paper, you have hundreds of people needing to come into the office, sign forms, get fingerprinted, and get trained, all at the exact same moment.
It sounds like the DMV on its worst day, but with way higher stakes.
And that leads to the instinctive reaction. We just need to work harder. We need more HR staff. But the guide argues that throwing bodies at the problem doesn't work. We need to change the tools entirely.
Which brings us to step one, the mobile-first revolution. Okay, let's parse this out, because mobile-first sounds like tech jargon. We hear mobile-friendly all the time. What's the actual difference here?
It's the difference between frustration and function. Mobile-friendly usually just means you take a website designed for a desktop mouse and you shrink it down until it fits on an iPhone screen.
So you're pinching and zooming and trying to tap a tiny little submit button with your thumb. It's awful.
Exactly. And for an hourly worker who might not be tech-savvy, that is a huge barrier. Mobile-first means the entire design starts with a phone. It's designed for the thumb zone. Big buttons, swipe to sign.
The source brings out a critical stat from Q Research here. Something like, 97% of Americans own a cell phone.
That's right. And for a lot of the classified workforce, custodians, groundskeepers, aides, that phone is their only computer. They don't have a MacBook waiting at home.
Right?
So if your onboarding process requires them to print a PDF, sign it, scan it, and email it back, you've just built a wall. I mean, who even has a scanner anymore?
I think my parents might have one in the attic. Maybe.
Exactly. But everyone has a camera in their pocket. A mobile-first system lets a driver just snap a photo of their commercial driver's license and upload it instantly.
Or lets them sign a contract with their finger.
Mm-hmm.
And there's another layer to this that I think is crucial. Language. The source mentions that around 10% of K-12 students come from non-English speaking homes.
And often, the classified staff reflects that diversity, especially in food service or custodial roles. This is huge for inclusion.
Oh, so?
Well, if you hand someone a stack of complex legal tax forms in English, and English is their second language, you aren't welcoming them. You're intimidating them. You're making them feel incompetent on day one.
It's like inviting someone to dinner and then asking them to assemble their own chair before they can eat. It's a barrier to entry right at the moment you want them to feel the most welcome.
Precisely. A true mobile-first platform toggles languages instantly. It feels native, not like a clunky Google Translate copy-paste job. It tells that employee, we see you, and we're meeting you where you are.
Okay, so step one is giving them the right tools. But step two gets into the psychology of retention. The source talks about a retention cliff.
The data is brutal here. Research from the Brandon Hall Group shows that strong onboarding can improve retention by 82%. But on the flip side, 0.20% of all turnover happens in the first 45 days.
That is wild. You go through all the trouble of finding a bus driver, hiring them, training them, and they quit in 6 weeks. Why?
Isolation.
Is it really isolation, though, or is it just that the job is hard? I mean, cleaning a high school cafeteria isn't exactly glamorous work.
The job is hard, absolutely. But people stay in hard jobs when they feel connected to a purpose or a team. Think about the life of a night custodian. You clock in at 3 p.m.
Teachers are leaving, principal's gone.
Right. You work until 11 p.m., heavily alone. You might work for the district for months and never actually have a real conversation with leadership.
You're a ghost in the machine.
You're invisible. So the solution the guide proposes is structured connection. You have to, in a way, operationalize friendship.
Operationalize friendship. That sounds very dystopian.
It sounds cold, but it works. It means mandatory check-ins at day 7, day 30, day 60. Not just, did you sign the form, but how are you doing?
And peer mentorship. That's key here, right? Pairing a new driver with a veteran who's been driving that route for 15 years.
Oh, invaluable. A handbook can tell you the route, but a veteran can tell you, hey, watch out for that intersection. When it rains, it gets slick. Or Mrs. Johnson at the third stop will always try to give you cookies.
That tribal knowledge.
Exactly. That builds confidence. And then there's the controversial one, mobile kudos.
Okay, I have to play devil's advocate here. The guide talks about peer-to-peer recognition, sending digital high fives through an app. Does a 55-year-old bus driver really care about getting a digital gold star on his phone? It feels a little, I don't know, patronizing.
I get that skepticism. It can feel gimmicky if it's forced. But think about the alternative. The alternative is silence. The alternative is cleaning up a massive spill in the hallway and no one ever acknowledging it happened.
That's a fair point.
If a teacher sees that clean hallway, pulls out their phone and zaps a quick message, "Hey, thanks for handling that mess so fast, you saved my day," it pops up on the custodian's phone. It's not about the gold star. It's about the witness.
It's someone saying, I saw what you did, and it mattered.
Yes, that cuts through the isolation.
It validates the work. Okay, I'm sold on the warm and fuzzy stuff, but we need to pivot to the high-stakes stuff. Step
Yeah.
3 and 4, the manager and the compliance team.
Wow. This is where the August surge stops being just annoying and starts being dangerous.
The source brings up the 3-day rule regarding I-9 forms.
Ah.
Break this down for us, because I think people gloss over how rigid this actually is.
It's a federal requirement. Section 2 of the I-9 form, the part that proves you are eligible to work in the U.S., must be completed within 3 business days of the employee starting.
3 days.
And here's the kicker. It requires a physical inspection of documents.
So a human being have to hold your passport or your driver's license and physically look at it.
Yes. Now, imagine you have 400 people starting on Monday. You need to physically verify 400 passports in 3 days. If you're doing that on paper, in a gymnasium with people waiting in line, you are going to make mistakes.
And the government does not like mistakes.
They really don't. For 2025, fines range from $280 to nearly $2,800 per form for a first offense.
Whoa. So if you mess up the paperwork for 50 drivers because your HR person was overwhelmed,
Yeah.
do the math. That's a budget-wrecking amount of money.
It's tens of thousands of dollars, but honestly.
Yeah.
The money is the least of your worries. The real cost is safety.
Because we're talking about people who are alone with children.
Exactly. Background checks are non-negotiable. The FBI fingerprint check can take 2 to 3 weeks to come back. If you wait until the first day of school to start that process because you're buried in paper, you have a massive problem.
You're stuck. You either have a bus sitting in the lot with no driver, or you put an unvetted person behind the wheel, which you can't do.
And that is the nightmare scenario. If something happens, if a child is harmed, and it comes out that the driver's background check was sitting in a to-do pile because the HR director was overwhelmed, the liability is infinite.
So how does the framework solve this? It can't make the FBI work faster.
No, but it pushes everything upstream. It's called pre-boarding. You send the offer letter digitally. It has a secure link. The new hire does the background check consent, the tax forms, the I-9 Section 1, all of it on their phone weeks before they show up.
So by the time they walk in the door, the red tape is already cut.
Exactly. And systems can integrate with E-Verify. So instead of a tired HR manager typing in a social security number and maybe making a typo.
Which happens, what the source said, 76% of the time in manual processes.
A staggering number, right. Instead, the system submits it automatically. It flags errors instantly. It takes the human error element out of compliance.
That seems like a no-brainer. It protects the district, and it gets people working faster.
And it empowers the managers. And we have to remember who these managers are. Step 4 focuses on them. We aren't talking about corporate VPs. We're talking about the head custodian or the transportation supervisor.
Right. These are working managers. They're fixing boilers. They're driving routes when someone calls in sick. They don't have time to be HR administrators.
Exactly. So when HR calls them and says, "Hey, did you onboard the new guy?" they want to scream. Automation gives them a dashboard they can see on their phone. Okay, new driver Dave has finished his safety videos, but he hasn't uploaded his license yet.
They don't have to call HR. They can just tap Dave on the shoulder.
It removes the bottleneck.
Okay, so we've got access, connection, and compliance. But there's one more trap schools fall into, and that's the generic packet. Step 5 is about realizing that one size does not fit all.
This is a classic efficiency trap. HR thinks, I'll just make one new employee binder and give it to everyone. But a bus driver and a cafeteria worker have almost nothing in common in their daily reality.
The source lists some specific examples here. A custodian needs to know about chemical safety right-to-know laws.
They need to know about bloodborne pathogens because they're cleaning up, well, everything. They need alarm codes.
And a food service worker.
Totally different. They need allergen awareness training. That's life or death stuff for a kid with a peanut allergy. They need food handler certification. They need to know how to work the point of sale system.
So if you give them both the same generic welcome to the district video, you're not just wasting time, you're creating a safety gap.
Right. If a bus driver sits through a generic orientation but misses the specific training on radio codes or student behavior management because it wasn't in the packet, you're setting them up to fail.
So the solution is what they call a workflow builder. To me, this sounds like a logic tree. Like an if this, then that thing.
Like exactly what it is. It's basic logic automation. The system knows. If new hire equals bus driver, then trigger CDL verification, route training, and radio protocols.
If new hire equals paraprofessional, then trigger FERPA privacy training and behavioral intervention.
It automates the common sense that usually gets lost in the shuffle.
And it tells the employee, we value your specific trade. We aren't just throwing you into the pool. We're giving you the gear you need to swim. Okay, we've built this amazing system. Mobile first, connected, compliant, tailored. But how do we know it's working? This brings us to step 6, measurement. And I'll be honest, usually when we get to the measurement part of these reports, my eyes glaze over. It feels like homework.
I get that. But let's frame it as a reality check. Districts are spending public money. We need to know if this software is actually solving the problem or if it just looks fancy.
So instead of just, did they sign the form, what should we be asking?
We need to look at time to productivity. That's a huge metric. How many days does it take from the moment a driver says yes to the moment they're driving a route solo?
If you can shrink that from 25 days to 10 days, you've just solved a huge chunk of your shortage without hiring a single extra person.
Exactly. You're getting more capacity out of the same pipeline. And you look at 90-day retention. That is the canary in the coal mine. If people are leaving within 90 days, your culture is leaking.
The guide suggests a 30-day pilot to get started. I like this because it feels manageable. It doesn't say change everything overnight.
No, trying to boil the ocean just leads to burnout. The plan is smart. Week 1, audit. Just look at the mess. Where are the gaps? Week 2, quick wins. What forms can go online immediately?
It's the momentum.
Right. Week 3, select your tech. Make sure it's truly mobile first. And week 4, launch a pilot with just one group.
Oh, smart. So maybe just the custodians or just the food service staff.
Exactly. Test the workflow, iron out the bugs. Then once you have that win, you roll it out to the rest of the district.
It's a way to eat the elephant one bite at a time.
And it proves the concept to the skeptics before you commit the whole budget.
We've covered a lot of ground here, from the panic of August to the logic of workflows. But I want to circle back to something we touched on at the beginning, the why. Because we can talk about efficiency and compliance and liability all day, but ultimately, this is about schools.
It is. And I think we sometimes forget the human impact of these roles. For a lot of students, the classified staff are the bookends of their day.
That's true. The bus driver is the very first person from the school system they see in the morning.
And if that driver is stressed, untrained, or rushing because they weren't onboarded well, that sets a tone. The kid feels that stress.
But if that driver knows the student's name, says good morning, knows the route cold, that child arrives at school ready to learn.
Or the food service worker who notices a kid looks sad and gives them an extra scoop, or just a smile. Or the custodian who high-fives the student in the hallway. These aren't just support staff. They are the fabric of the school environment. Onboarding isn't just about paperwork. It is the very first signal we send to these employees that says, you matter. You are part of this mission.
And if they feel they matter, they stay. And if they stay, the buses run on time, the schools are clean, and the kids are fed.
It connects everything.
So here's a final thought to chew on. We started this deep dive talking about a national crisis, 21,000 missing bus drivers. And usually when we talk about problems that big, we look for billion-dollar solutions.
Acts of Congress, massive tax hikes, things like that.
Exactly. But sometimes the answer is much quieter. If a mobile-first onboarding process can make a new hire feel capable, included, and ready to work weeks faster, and if it costs a fraction of what we spend on recruiting, could this solution to the national bus driver shortage actually be sitting in our pockets right now?
It's a powerful idea. It's technology not replacing the human element, but actually clearing the way for it to happen.
I love that. Well, that is all for this deep dive. A huge thank you to the team at HR Cloud for the source material on this one. It really opened my eyes to the hidden workforce.
Absolutely. It's a perspective shift we all needed.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Stay curious, and we'll catch you on the next one.